Good morning, everybody. Here. Today our lesson is the passive voice. The passive voice is used when we are not very interested with the agent or the doer of the verb, but we are interested in the verb itself or the object itself. So the passive voice, the sentence originally is subject plus verb plus object. And today we are going to start with the present simple. For example, subject plus verb 1 plus object. Here we have the student is the subject. The student is the subject, writes is the verb, and his homework is the object. So we take the object replaces the subject, it takes the place of the subject. So it becomes a subject. We can say his homework or the homework, it's better, the homework, and the object, the subject becomes an objective case. We put the word by, then the student, by the student. Now, the verb in the sentence, whatever it was, verb 1, verb 2, verb 3, verb ing, whatever the verb was, or whatever the verb is, it becomes verb 3. It's inverted into verb 3. And instead of the verb, we add, we insert, it's not found, we bring it, we insert the verb be. The verb be, but the verb be in the form of the original verb or of the main verb. Here we have the main verb in the form verb 1. In the form verb 1. So we put be in the form of verb 1. Be in the form of verb 1 is am or is or are. So we put here is. Now the sentence becomes the homework is written by the student. The homework is written by the student. Now I will give or make a diagram for this process, for this case. Now we have subject, verb, and object. Okay, we take the object and put it in the place of the subject. It becomes a subject. And we take the subject to replace the object and we put the word by. So it becomes by an object. Okay, now the verb, as I said before, in any case, in any form, it converts or we transform it to verb 3. And then we add the verb be according to the tense of the verb. According to the tense of the verb. So the forms of the verb be, the forms of the verb be are when verb be is 0 or when the verb is 0, we put instead of it the verb be. So be is the verb 0. Now, if the verb is verb 1, we replace it with is or am or are, according to the subject, of course. Then, if the verb is in verb 2, we put instead of it was or were. If the verb is in verb 3, we put it in verb 3 and we replace it by been, which is the verb 3 from be. And sometimes the verb is in the continuous case, it has an ing. So also we put the verb in verb 3 and we replace it with verb ing, verb be with ing here, which is being. Okay, let's have an example. Here we have an example. Layla cooked lunch yesterday. Layla is the subject. Cooked is verb in the form verb 2. Lunch is the object and yesterday is another verb we don't need or we don't change it. So Layla is the subject. Layla is the subject. Cook is the verb in verb 2. And here we have the object. Okay, now the object becomes a subject. We say lunch lunch, and here we have the verb to, so we put was or one, and lunch takes was because as it's singular. Lunch was cooked by Layla yesterday. Lunch was cooked by Layla yesterday. Of course, if the name, if it's a proper name, it stays as it is. It stays the same. We don't change anything in it. But if the subject is a pronoun, we change the subjective pronoun into an objective pronoun. So, another example, he is reading a story. He is reading a story. Now, he is reading a story is a sentence in the present continuous or progressive tense. The object here is a story. So we start our sentence with a story. A story, and the auxiliary verb here stays the same or remains the same according to the subject. If the subject is singular, it is, we use it as it is. And if the subject is plural, we change it into are. Okay, so if we have here stories, we say stories are. But as we have a singular sentence or word, we say a story is. And the verb reading, we change it into verb 3 read. Verb 3 read. And we replace it with be with the same form, which is being. And then a story, so a story is being read by him. The word him is the objective form from the word he, from the subject, from the pronoun he. So he is the subject and him is an object for by. So we change it from the subjective case into the objective case. Now we have another example in the present perfect tense. They have built a new school. They have built a new school. Now, they is the subject. They is the subject. Have built is the verb. And a new school is the object. Of course, here we have the verb in the present perfect. We have an auxiliary verb, have, and the verb built in verb 3. So we bring the object to be, or we change it to be the subject of the sentence. We start the sentence with it, and new school, and the auxiliary verb have remains the same, but it changes into has because we have a singular subject. If we have a plural subject, it stays the same or remains the same because the plural or the auxiliary verb for the plural is have. So a new school has. So has is the same as have, but because it's plural. Now we have the verb, the original verb is in verb 3, and we put it in verb 3 here, but we replace it with the auxiliary verb, which is also in verb 3, the verb be. We add or insert the verb be before it, and the subject becomes an object here. They is a subjective case. We put it in the objective case. It's becomes them. So a new school has been built by them. Another one, which is the verb 0. We will receive a gift. We will receive a gift. We know that after the models, we usually or we always use the verb 0. After the models, we use verb 0. So receive here in verb 0. We is the subject, will receive is the verb, and the main verb is receive, and a gift is the object. Now, in the passive voice, a gift becomes subject, it takes place or replaces the subject. A gift will remains the same, it remains the same, and we use will with all the pronouns. So a gift will, and the verb 0 here is replaced by be in the verb 0. A gift will be received by us. We is in the subjective case. We replace it with us, which is in the objective case. I hope in this brief explanation for the passive voice, I hope I gave you an idea, a clear idea about how to form the passive voice if we have an active sentence and we are asked to change it into the passive voice. These are the main steps. I will repeat them orally. So we change the subject of the active voice with the object, and it becomes the subject. And the subject of the sentence becomes an object. We invert the verb into verb 3 and replace it with be in the same form of the main verb. If it's verb 0, verb 1, verb 2, or verb 3, or verb ing. And that's all. I thank you for listening, and goodbye.